Alright, this is Phosphorus back with another episode of the Fossibles, bursting from extinction to distinction, with Chapter 9, Home Sweet Home. Once little T arrived, the whole dynamic within the Stone household changed. As Trex, Bron, Deb, and Riz grew bigger and bigger, the Stones knew they had a problem on their hands. Trex, Bron, and little T now crowded into the bedroom that had originally been Clem's TV room. Deb and Riz occupied and overwhelmed Joan's sewing room. Plain and simple, the Stones' home was just not big enough for their growing, supersized family. I'm not surprised. Clem and Joan had to figure out a solution to the space problem, and they needed to figure it out quickly and cost-effectively.
Couldn't we just add on to the back of the house near the family room, Clem?
Joan asked hopefully. No, we can't just add on. At this point, we don't even know for sure how big they'll all get, Clem said, scratching his head. Imagine if they grew into full-sized dinosaurs. Well, they already know that's not going to happen. And didn't Clem already give an explanation as to why? If we think we've got problems now, look out! Clem exclaimed as he continued to ponder how he could get more living space for the dinosaurs. He knew he needed to quickly take some action. From the beginning, the entire family enjoyed having little T around, especially Deb and Riz. They wrapped him with the towels Joan used as diapers. Ew. They brought him everywhere they went. Many times, Joan had to hunt him down to feed him.
Riz, where is little T?
Joan asked as she looked around the backyard after noticing Riz standing alone next to one of the big trash cans on the side of the hill. He's going for a ride now. Why? Do you need him? Riz yelled back.
A ride?
Joan asked.
What kind of ride?
And, just then, she realized what was going on.
Riz, is little T inside that trash can?
Joan screamed. Riz jumped when Joan yelled. She dropped the cover onto the trash can and lost her balance, hitting the side of the can ever so slightly as she fell. Which is a dinosaur. How can she hit something slightly? The impact of her body weight was just enough to tip the garbage can over. Instantly, it started to roll down the hill.
Get him!
Yelled Joan as she ran after the rolling can.
Get him!
Riz jumped up and started to run down the hill after the can, but she couldn't catch it. Trex heard all the yelling and ran outside just in time to see his mother chasing after the rolling trash can. He realized that she was trying to stop it, so he ran to the bottom of the hill. He let the can hit him, and it stopped abruptly. Trex lifted his magic stick up over his head to signify his success in stopping the can. So he's just always carrying the stick around with him. And he can apparently, as a Tyrannosaurus, lift his hands above his head. Okay. And he just decided to strike a pose there. He's a bit of an actor. Joan arrived where Trex was standing, and just about the same time he stopped the can. She hurriedly opened the lid and saw little T inside looking up with those big eyes of his and smiling. Quickly, she scooped him up into her arms and, pounding his head, asked,
Are you okay, little guy? Are you okay?
She shot an angry look at Riz while comforting little T.
Don't ever do that again, Riz. Do you understand me? He's your brother, not a toy?
That's a question. No, it's not a question, but there's a question mark there.
He could have gotten hurt,
Joan said firmly. I mean, first of all, he's a dinosaur. And second of all of you have superpowers. So, I think you've been fine. Riz nodded agreement and then looked at little T. He smiled back at her. If Riz hadn't known better, she would have sworn he was saying with his eyes, that was what's his voice? I gotta think of. Oh man. That was fun, sis. Let's do it again. Little T grew fast and he, more than all the others, enjoyed being a daredevil. In fact, nothing scared him. Then what's the point of being a daredevil? He would try anything. Being the youngest, he always found ways to occupy his time. He liked to play outside. He invented his own sports games and became a very good skateboarder.
Mom, go to yoga?
No, she's upstairs.
How come?
Oh, no, she went, yeah,
To yoga? Where's Eamon?
upstairs. He never sat still for long. Schoolwork bored him. When he wasn't playing sports himself, he was getting the stats on his favorite teams and players off the internet. Do you know who holds the record for most consecutive games with a hit? Little T asked everyone at the dinner. No, that's too much like Deb. Do you know who holds... No. You know, it'll just be my voice. Do you know who holds the record for most consecutive games with a hit? Little T asked everyone. No, that's not ridiculous enough.
Do you know who...
Do you know? Oh wait, okay. Let me try their Clone High JFK. It's me. I am JFK. Oh fuck.
Silent.
Amen.
What?
Do the Clone High JFK voice.
I can't.
I'm trying to do it. There we go. Is that it?
Yo, that sound. I can't do it. Yeah, that's great.
All right. That's my JFK voice. It's from Clone High. You should watch that show. Do you know who holds the record for most consecutive games with a hit? Little T asked everyone.
I invaded her Bay of Pigs.
I invaded her Bay of Pigs, if you catch my meaning. There we go. Do you know who holds the record for most consecutive games with a hit? Little T asked everyone at the dinner table one night. That's kind of like Trex. Whatever. Who cares? Said Riz, as she kept eating. Trex looked up. Who? Are you going to give us any clues? What team did he play for? No, try and guess, responded Little T, looking at Clem for a sign of approval. Clem smiled and nodded at him. All the dinosaurs remained silent.
Kitty.
Well,
Kitty.
oh, don't do that, Eamon. I have a dedicated viewership, and you
Kitty.
ruined it.
Kitty. Kitty.
That's Sam, everyone, by the way. Not the person's. The cat is named Sam.
No, I can't. She's attached. Ugh. You're like choking her. There you go. Kitty.
Okay, I'm gonna read this, so I'll leave.
But kitty.
Leave.
Alright, I'm gonna move to the other kitty.
I don't know if you can hear it, but she's purring. Okay. No, try and guess, responded Little T, looking for Clem for a sign of approval. Clem smiled and nodded at him. All the dinosaurs remained silent. Well, I guess it'll be my secret then. What are you doing?
No, the other one. I like how that's her actual name.
Until he said a bit disappointed. Okay,
No, the other one's
I've got one for you then, said Clem. Do you know who says, I've seen better cuts in a meat market? See Everett Stone, Braun replied slowly. Everyone looked up and started laughing. We know that's one of your... Braun replied slowly. Everyone looked up and started laughing. We know that's one of your favorite expressions, Dad. Good job, Braun, Clem said. Glad to see you're paying attention to me. Well, that's sad. That was a really sad passage. Do you know what language that says it in? Deb chimed in. Everyone looked at each other. English, Little T yelled, and everyone laughed even more. What? That's not comedy. This is a sad family. This is a boring family. This is sad. This is a Donald Trump tweet. Sad. Let me just check them. Adjust the camera. Donald. Okay. From the beginning, Little T's superpowers were evident. Joan first noticed one of his powers when she wrapped him in his baby blanket. As she did so, he turned the exact color of the blanket. Little T was able to camouflage himself by turning his body to the color of his immediate surroundings, no matter what color or colors they were. As he aged, he also took on more and more of Trex's special powers. That made sense to Joan and Clem, because both Trex and Little T were the same type of dinosaur, a tyrannosaur. That's not how this works. You can't just have unexplained superpowers and say, oh yeah, this one has like extra powers besides the other one. That just makes Trex redundant. Little T is just a better version of Trex. Okay. The 5 dinosaurs continued to enjoy life with their parents. Time seemed to fly by. Each day, Little T grew bigger and bigger until the house was definitely too small for the family to live in comfortably. It was obvious they had to do something, and do it immediately. Clem had been trying to find a solution for a couple of years now. Suddenly, one day, it came to him. He would build them their own house out behind the main one. Everything in it would be designed to accommodate their super sizes, while still leaving room for them to grow. So, for the next couple of months, Clem worked on constructing a house for the dinosaurs. He used heavy metal sheets and built a structure that resembled an airplane hangar. It was huge, with 4 sides and an arched top. That's a building. You don't need to go into specifics. You don't need to, like, say it looked like an airplane hangar, and then describe an airplane hangar. That's just redundant. The front looked like the front of the town garage. There's a town garage? It had a big door that was tall enough and wide enough for the supersized dinosaurs to get in and out of easily. On the back wall, about 3/4 of the way up, there were several windows. The construction work was hard, and all of the stones helped out. Some things were made easier because of the dinosaurs' special powers. For example, it was easy for Braun to lift the heavy pieces of metal into place. When his dad was up on the scaffolding, he could catapult whatever tool he needed right to him. That sounds dangerous. Like, damn. Trex could easily jump onto the roof and hammer nails with his big feet. I think it'd just break whatever he made because Tyrannosaurs are quite large. Day and night, work continued on their new building despite the extreme Arizona heat. When they got overheated, Riz inhaled gallons of water from the garden hose and sprayed all of them to cool them off. That doesn't sound sanitary. When they were hungry, Deb shot to the parents' house with the speed of a bullet and brought back lots of healthy food for them. If she can move at the speed of light, which this is essentially said that she can, why doesn't she just, like, go into town, get food, and come back? No one would know she's a dinosaur. No one would notice that they had been robbed until they noticed the food physically missing, because they would not see her because she's moving at the speed of light. Once the outside of the building was complete, it was time to furnish the inside. They're dinosaurs, why? They don't need furnishing? They just need dirt and, like, trees. Everyone had their own ideas of how the inside should look. Clem and Joan became skillful at finding everyday items and adapting them for dinosaurs. Well, I mean, they've been at it for 10 years. Clem salvaged 5 old trampolines from local schools and used them for the dinosaurs' beds. Does not seem sufficient. They easily accommodated the dinosaur's size and were comfortable too. Joan covered them with blue crash mats so they weren't too bouncy. In the bathroom, the dinosaurs used ice scrapers for toothbrushes, and each one used a full tube of toothpaste each and every day. For dental floss, they used thin nylon line. Don't dinosaurs just, like, replace their teeth? Why do they don't need dental floss? They're dinosaurs. They eat fucking raw meat. Well, Trex does, and the other ones eat just, like, vegetables. Okay. Rolled and hung on the wall over the bathroom sink. For a toilet, Clem rigged an old clawfoot bathtub for the dinosaur. Oh, they have a full bathtub. Why is this in here? Why is she describing this? I didn't even want to think about this. For a toilet, Clem rigged an old foot-claw bathtub for the dinosaurs. He cut out a large piece of plywood in the shape of the top of the bathtub as a toilet seat, and plumbed the whole contraption so it would flush like a regular toilet. For their shower, Clem hooked up an old car wash system on the outside of the building. That actually kind of makes sense. Each day, it took turns walking through each of the stations of the car wash, including the big, rough, yellow brushes that surrounded them on both sides, and scrubbed their scaly skin clean. The kitchen table was an old cable spool covered with padding with smaller cable spools as chairs. A portion of the inside space was set aside for exercising. In fact, Clem found an old motorized airport walkway for sale online. Just happened upon an old airport walkway on eBay or Craigslist, because you find so many of those. What? Okay, where was I? He bought it right away and installed it as their treadmill. It's still built for people. Like, it's not wide, it's just long. And it doesn't matter that it's long. I mean, it's beneficial if you're like a brontosaurus and are like 30 feet long, but you still need to fit on it width-wise. Clem knew that Braun loved music and dancing. Dev and Riz did too. Why has this never been mentioned before? So he installed one of those sparkling dance hall balls at the ceiling near the CD player. A disco ball? You found a disco ball. Clem found it on the internet too. I'm not surprised. A huge slide connected the second floor loft to the living room. The dinosaurs loved to slide down it. Joe also designed a computer workstations near the classroom area. This is a big fucking place. Little T, the daredevil, was adamant about building a ramp out and back so he could ride his skateboard. Finally, one day, Clem caved into his demands. Trex, Braun, and Little T helped their father build him a half-pipe. Because he's radical. He's a radical dinosaur. Once it was completed, Little T rode his board up and down and attempted extreme tricks every day of the week. One day, Little T decided that it would be fun to have Braun stand about 300 yards away and catapult him onto his skateboard perched on top of his halfpipe. Then he'd skate down the ramp. Soon. So, he begged and begged Braun until he agreed. Okay, Little T, just sit down on my tail and wrap your arms around the end, Braun said with some hesitation. He was scared that if it did not work, they would both be grounded for a long time. Maybe a couple of years. No, you're dinosaurs. He knew that. Regardless, he'd get the worst of it because he was older and should have known better. Braun, flip me as high as you can. No, that's not his voice. Braun, flip me as high as you can. Do it with all your might. Just aim at my skateboard, persisted Little T. Braun sighed. Trex, standing nearby, shook his head signifying that this was not a good idea, and simultaneously pounded his magic stick into the ground for extra emphasis. Ooka chaka. Finally, Braun took a deep breath, so deep that nearby cactus moved when he exhaled. Okay. Using all of his strength, he flipped Little T into the air. Little T started to fly through the air. It didn't take long for both Braun and Trex to realize that this definitely wasn't a good idea. But by that time, it was too late. Why can't he just jump up and catch him? But flying away from them, and he was flying fast. Up, up, and away. Trex screamed, "You threw him too hard. He's going to end up in California." As Braun and Trex looked up, I like how two of my voices are from Clone High, which is a good TV show, and you should check it out. It was one season. Trex's voice is Mr. B. He's the mechanical butler. And now little T is the JFK. As Bronn, because it's like a high school of clones of famous people. So like the main character is Abraham Lincoln, and his best friend is Gandhi, and Joan of Arc is the like angsty goth girl. It's an interesting show. You should check it out. It's hilarious. As Bronn and Trex looked up, little T flew right up and over the half pipe. Immediately, he was really far away and flying with great speed. Come on now, Trex. We got to do something. And do it now, Bronn ordered as he started to run in the direction little T was flying. Trex jumped high in the sky right toward the diminishing object that was his little brother. As he rose up in the sky, he held his magic stick tightly in his right hand. Riz and Deb heard all the commotion and ran outside to see what was going on. "Why are you guys yelling?" asked Deb, but it was too late. Bronn was barely visible in the distance, running towards the mountains to the west. Wouldn't people notice a brontosaurus like running as fast as possible? Trix continued to bounce higher and higher into the sky, turning and flapping his magic stick as he jumped. "Wait up, guys! What happened?" the girls yelled simultaneously. When no one answered, Deb and Riz looked at each other and, in the blink of an eye, took off running after their brothers. "Deb, I can't run that fast!" exclaimed Riz, breathing heavily as she stomped along Deb. "Just go ahead. I'll catch up." With that, Dev took off running with the speed of a jet-propelled rocket. What? A jet-propelled rocket? No! You can't... They're two entirely different forms of propulsion. A rocket has oxidizer, and a jet requires oxygen in the air to move. You can have rockets and a jet on the same vehicle, but it wouldn't be a jet-propelled rocket unless it were the jets were being used to exit the atmosphere and then the rockets would go over, I guess. But it's a jet or a rocket. It's a type of engine. Within nanoseconds, Riz could no longer see her. So, Riz took it upon herself to stop running and rest for a while. You know what? This is hard. I'm gonna rest for a while. She doesn't actually say that, but that's what I'm imagining she's thinking. What happened? Wait. Finally, she took off again and ultimately caught up with Trex, Bronn, and Deb, all of whom had by then successfully retrieved little T from his flight in the sky. Oh, so the resolution is they just solved it. No, actual tension. What happened, Riz asked. What happened, Riz asked. Who's talking? Well, Bronn catapulted... Oh, God, what's his... Bronn catapulted me up in the air using his tail, and I flew off just like a jet plane. It was so cool. I was flying so high, I think I was on my way to California. But that is until Trex jumped up and grabbed me and brought me back down to Earth. Little T answered excitedly. What? Riz yelled. I tried to flip him up onto the half pipe, but my tail got a little carried away, Bronn said apologetically. Come on, Bronn. You know you're better than that. Dad's going to be very angry, Riz yelled. I know, but just think, for a minute we almost had our own airline, Little T joked. Okay. No more. It's nothing to laugh about. We take too many risks, Trex said, pointing at Little T with his magic stick. With that, the entire group headed for home as Riz once again huffed and puffed. Let's not tell Mom and Dad, okay? Asked Little T. Let's not upset them. Okay, it's our little secret. All of ours, responded Bronn as he looked around to all of his brothers and sisters, each of whom silently nodded in agreement. Jordan and Clem had a big surprise waiting for the dinosaurs when they got home. They met with them at the entrance of the dinosaurs' home. Well, it's taken us a long time, but together we've turn this place into a pretty nice home for you guys. Don't you agree? Clem asked. Of course, Dad. It's the best, Riz said. Then we've got a special surprise for you. Your mother and I decided that this place needed a name, not just the back house, as we've been calling it. So, from now on, it will be known as the Bone Zone.
That's what it's called.
God damn it.
It's a meme joke.
Oh no! It's the Bone Zone! I want to put my dinosaur kids in the Bone Zone! No! Oh, this might actually be furry porn. What do you think of that? I think it's horrifying. Actually, no, I think it's hilarious. You should totally do that. That's great. I like it. That's great. I like it. Little T volunteered. I'm just trying to get the voice right.
Come inside, there's more.
Joan said as she slowly pushed the big, heavy doors open so all could enter. The dinosaurs all saw the sign at the same time. It hung on the back wall and was made up by long bones spelling the words Bone Zone.
Let me just get the kitty off me.
Clem's old friend, an iron worker, had helped him design and build the sign, thinking it was more of a chic new restaurant in Scottsdale. A chic new restaurant called the Bone Zone. I love it! We live in the Bone Zone! The Bone Zone! Damn chanted. How cool is that? Asked Trex.
Oh, got it.
Well, I'd say it's really cool, Trex. In fact, I'd say it's bona fide. Said Braun emphatically. Glad you all like it. Now let's all clean up for dinner, Clem said. We'll meet you back here in about 10 minutes. Mom has cooked a great meal to celebrate the Bone Zone. I'm never gonna get over that. When dinner was done and the dinosaurs had all cleaned up, the fucking Bone Zone. When dinner was done and the dinosaurs had all cleaned up, they headed for their beds in the Bone Zone. They headed for their beds in the Bone Zone. Ah! Trex and Little T had a bedroom on the left side of the Bone Zone. Directly across the opposite side of the building, Riz and Deb slept in their room. Braun's room was right next to Riz and Deb. He needed more room than the others because of his big tail. Like most brothers and sisters, they argued about whose stuff was where. If they found someone else's stuff in their space, they'd yell, "Get it off my side." Riz's bedding was decorated with flowers. A mirror with the same print as the bedding hung next to her bed. Deb's bed had a more classic line to it. Her bedding was a muted orange color. 2 posters, one of yoga positions and one of karate moves, hung next to her bed. Little T's area was decorated in camouflage. Because he's radical. His skateboard, stale food, and dirty clothes were usually strewn all over. Oh, so he's just like a teenager. Trix's side of the room was far neater, and his bed was covered with a blue and white checkered bedspread. He had a special place in the corner where he leaned his magic stick when he slept. Braun's bedroom, there's no need for a hyphen there, had a baseball theme. Over his bed, a big beam made of baseball bats hung in honor of the Boston Red Sox. Why? They're in Arizona. And, because he absolutely loved island music, he had a plastic blow-up palm tree with tiny white lights on it that nestled in the corner of the room. Nice. Trex found a little humor in having Little T's stuff overflow into his side of the bed. Little T, I am not joking. Get your smell... Little T, I am not kidding. Get your smelly socks off my bed. Trex yelled, prodding at those socks with his magic stick. Oh. You know what? I prodded socks with my magic stick. They're not just socks. They're a science experiment. That's what I call. That's what I call it after I prod my socks with a magic stick. They're a science experiment. I'm trying to see if they can actually get so dirty that they'll walk away all by themselves. Why are they wearing socks? Mom told me that would happen if I didn't pick them up. Mom told me that would happen if I didn't pick them up and put them in the laundry, Little T explained. Oh, you think they'll actually walk away all by themselves? Well, you're running your little experiment. Why don't you take it outside and slip with it there? While you're at it, watch out for coyotes, joked Trex. Riz laughed, but she stopped laughing when Little T suddenly grabbed his smelly socks, shot across the bone zone, and threw them onto her bed. Ew, get off my bed, Riz shrieked. Riz grabbed the filthy socks with only 2 fingers so as to barely touch them and flung them onto Deb's bed. Trex, Little T, and Riz all stared laughing as they stared at the socks. Just then, Deb walked in from outside and saw the socks lying on her bed. Her facial expression, because she's a dinosaur with a face, quickly turned from one of curiosity to one of anger. Who put those gross socks on my bed? Deb yelled, sniffing the foul odor that now filled her bedroom. Little T did, Riz exploded, laughing. Little T, sensing that he was about to get into trouble, quickly grabbed his skateboard. As he tried to skate past her toward the kitchen, Deb grabbed his arm and flung him back onto her bed. Ooh, they are gonna go to the bone zone. Aren't you forgetting something, my little friend? Deb asked, pointing to the gross, smelly socks lying on her bed. Little T grabbed his socks and threw them over the wall into Braun's room, although they all knew that Braun was in his room. He didn't say anything as the smelly socks tumbled in. Trex, Riz, Deb, and Little T waited, expecting to hear something from Braun. 2 minutes went by, and still he said nothing. Trex tiptoed... Okay, how much more is this? Okay. Thank God. Because I'm getting tired of this. Braun's room and peeked around the wall. As he turned his head back toward his baby brother and sisters, he whispered, "Shh." Wait, who's doing this? Trex. Shh. He's sleeping. They landed right in the middle of his stomach. But he's still... God damn it. But he's still sleeping. Sooner or later he'll smell them. That'll wake him up for sure. Everyone laughed. Then, one by one, they each tiptoed off in a different direction toward their own comfy bed in the bone zone.
The bone zone.
The bone zone. It was like Ken Bone as a sign.
Yeah, that's
Each expecting to hear rumblings from Braun continue during the night, especially Little T, who is determined to become the world's first sock scientist. Okay, that is going to wrap it up for me. We're only 44% done with this absolute masterpiece. If you like this video, give me a like. If you didn't...
Don't! Smash that like button, actually.
Yeah, actually just smash that motherfucking like button. Subscribe, please. Let me know in the comments down below what you liked, what you didn't like.
I didn't like you, Charlie.
Thanks. That wraps it up for me.